My name is Helen Parker. I'm 56 years old, a widow, and I live in a small town in Colorado. I've worked as a school administrator for almost 20 years. I raised two children, Anna, my daughter, who just turned 30, and Michael, my 27-year-old son. Most of my adult life was spent making sure they had opportunities I never did. Last Monday, I received an email that changed everything. It was from Anna. No subject line, just her name in my inbox. I smiled before opening it, thinking maybe it was a sweet update or a quick note about her upcoming wedding. Just a few weeks ago, we had talked about her plans. I had already contributed $25,000 to secure the venue, the photographer, and the florist she had dreamed about since college. But when I opened the email, the smile vanished. Mom. That's how it began. Not dear mom, just mom, like a label. Anna explained that she, along with her fiancé Daniel and his family, had finalized the guest list for their ceremony in Santa Barbara. After much thought, they decided it would be best if I watched the wedding by live stream, not in person. She added that Daniel's mother was particular about the guest count and wanted to keep things intimate. At the end, she wrote something that felt like salt in a wound. If you want to be a part of it, you can watch through the Zoom link. It'll be just like being there. LOL. I stared at the screen for a long time. My coffee grew cold. My hands didn't shake. I didn't cry. Something inside me shifted, quietly, like the ground cracked open, but I was still standing. I replied with just 4 words. Sure. Enjoy your big day. No argument. No pleading. Just silence. And I knew those 4 words would echo louder than any scream. That was the day everything began to change. The drive to work was quiet. Colorado's late winter air still carried a chill, but I barely noticed. My mind circled one question. How did we get here? I've worked at Harrison Valley High School for 19 years. It's not glamorous, but it's stable. After my husband died suddenly when the kids were teenagers, stability was survival. I remember sitting at our old kitchen table, bills spread everywhere, trying to figure out how to pay for both groceries and Anna's college deposit. Back then, I gave up vacations, holidays, even birthdays. Every spare penny went to Anna and Michael. When Anna changed majors twice and needed extra credits, I paid. When she moved to Chicago for a short-lived job, I covered her deposit and her flight. When she cried through a breakup at 26, I flew out, made her tea, and stayed the night in an apartment that didn't feel like home. When Michael bought a house with his fiancée, I co-signed the loan and wrote the first $15,000 check without hesitation. I never kept score. That's what mothers do, right? But Anna's email made me feel like a transaction, useful, until I wasn't. At the office, my principal, Mr. Davis, noticed something was off. He's the type who remembers birthdays and how you take your coffee. He set a latte on my desk and said, "You look like you've seen a ghost." I wanted to tell him everything, that my daughter had just uninvited me from her wedding. But instead, I smiled and said I hadn't slept well. He didn't push. That quiet kindness nearly undid me. By lunchtime, Anna's name lit up my phone again. Voicemails, texts. Mom, please answer. This isn't funny. I ignored them. Maybe it was time to stop being the one who always answered. That afternoon, I made a decision that would change everything. After work, I didn't go home. I drove to Summit Bank, where the branch manager, Mr. Ramirez, had always helped me. I sat down across from him and said calmly, "I need to cancel a wire transfer." He blinked. "The one for the Santa Barbara venue?" "Yes," I replied. He hesitated. "That's $40,000. Are you sure?" I nodded. "I'm sure." Between the $25,000 I'd already paid and the $40,000 I was about to send, it would have been $65,000 for a wedding I wasn't welcome at. I signed the forms and walked out without regret. When I got home, there were missed calls from both kids. One voicemail simply said, "Mom, please don't do this." I turned off my phone, poured a glass of red wine, and sat on the porch in the fading light. For the first time in decades, I thought about what I wanted: peace, dignity, a life not measured by how useful I was. Later that night, my son Michael showed up at my door, still in his work clothes, tie loosened. "Mom, why aren't you answering?" Anna's panicking. "She says you're being difficult." I laughed softly. Difficult? For not attending a wedding I was uninvited from? He shifted. "Daniel's parents are covering most of the cost. You know how traditional they are. I raised an eyebrow. Traditional? I already gave $25,000. I was about to send $40,000 more. That's not tradition. That's a bill. His face went pale. Wait, you were sending another 40? Was, I corrected. Not anymore. Mom, they're counting on that money. Not my problem anymore, I said. His voice rose. She's your sister. You always make everything about yourself. And that was it. Something inside me gave way. Get out of my house, I said. He froze. What? You heard me, Michael. Out. The door shut quietly behind him, but it felt louder than any slam. My heart pounded, but for the first time, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. The next morning, there were dozens of missed calls and frantic texts. Anna's messages grew desperate. The venue says the payment didn't go through. We're going to lose everything if you don't pay today. Daniel's parents are furious. Please don't do this to me. And that's when I realized she still didn't understand. Later, Anna's best friend Claire showed up at my door. I hadn't seen her since high school sleepovers, but there she was, nervous, holding her coat. MRS. Parker, I know it's late, but Anna's a wreck. The venue dropped them. The florist quit. She doesn't know what to do. She asked me to talk to you. I made tea. Claire asked quietly, is there anything she can say to change your mind? I paused, then answered honestly, no. Words are easy, especially when people are desperate. But love shouldn't only show up when the money stops. Claire lowered her eyes, nodding. I get it, even if she doesn't. The wedding never happened as planned. They scrambled, but everything was booked or too expensive. In the end, Anna and Daniel had a small backyard ceremony with just a few relatives. I wasn't invited, and this time, I didn't need to be. Weeks later, Anna sent one long email. Half apology, half excuse. I read it once, then archived it. I wasn't angry anymore. Just done. There's a strange peace in letting go. For the first time in decades, I woke up without wondering who needed something from me. I started reading novels again, joined a pottery class, had dinners with friends who saw me, not what I could give. And I learned something I wish I'd known earlier. You don't have to burn yourself to keep others warm. If this story resonated with you, share it, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Sometimes the strongest kind of love is the one you finally give to yourself.